There are 1,034 champions as of today, which is the August 9th, 2026. And it's kind of easy to sort of, get a champion, have it in the vault, maybe not in the vault, but not maxed out, and you're kind of like, should I? Should I not? I don't know. And you might think, well, how do you know? 1034? Use calculator. All right, guys, today, I'm going to go through 5. I mean, like, it's not 10, but it's here's 5, here's 5. Don't add it up. Just 5. Here's 5. Okay, here's 5 champions that I'm gonna go through, which I sort of glance at. I'm gonna like, okay, here you go, vault, or champions that I kind of like, not ignored, but sometimes it's ignored, and sometimes it's just sort of like, I don't know, I'll try it out, and then couple like days, weeks later, I'm like, wait a second, damn. All right, let's start talking about the champions. Now, do I know where exactly they are? Well, I know the first one. So let's talk about Septimus Prime, as I like to call him. This guy kind of shined through in Faction Wars, and then because story time here, Faction Wars, I struggled a lot with Bannerlords. Now I'm like, I believe it's 63 out of 63 stars. I'm 5 away from Faction Wars Heart. Yes! That's thanks to him, partly. And also, I don't know, the rest I don't really figure out like they're good in Faction Wars, but I do like the fact that I found him out, like, oh, he's really good for Faction Wars. So like, oh, wait a second, then he could be good here, and there. Let's just gear him. Basically, he started shining because we did Faction Wars. I geared him out and everything, and then let's go through his kit, and then I'll talk a little bit about like what happened, and then I'm like where I applied him to. We have the A1 Behead. Attacks one enemy, will ignore 30% of target's defense. Grants an extra turn and resets the cooldown on this champion's Holy Sword skill if the target is killed. The cooldown will be reset even if this attack is a counter attack. The fact that you can do A1 and then you kill someone and then you do an A1 again. Oh, you kill that guy as well? Oh, then A1 there, boom. And then A1. So you could just, if you know that his A1 is gonna kill, you just boom, 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 boom. And it's like, when you know that's like, okay, well, at this point, I'm not gonna kill it. You just step in with the A2 that attacks all enemies, will ignore shield and block damage buffs, and damage increase according to enemies' max HP. So it's just a bunch of like, it's, think of a Tecteon A1 explosion, kind of. It's basically that, except the stun. But it ignores shield and block damage. And then we have the passive, has a 30% chance of increasing the duration of all debuffs on the target by 1 turn whenever this champion attacks. This fate cannot be resisted. The damage inflicted by this champion's skills increases by 30% if the enemy's max HP is higher than this champion's max HP. And then with a little bit of a ally attack in all battles by 30%. The fact that you just go A1, 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 A1. And you would only, well, you would ideally prioritize A1 if you know you're gonna kill a champion, because why not get a free turn? And then why not get another free turn? And then when you know, oh, well, the A1 is not gonna kill anyone, just start off with the A2. Start off with the A2. Oh shit, everyone's low now, then A1, 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 A1. It's insane. It's really, really good. And in Live Arena, so I am not using it as my main team, not at all. But if you have Septimus and you don't have Tecteon, or you don't have Gaspard, or you don't have frickin' I'm just listing champions that I have, but like if you don't have Solinar and those kind of champions, Septimus can be very dangerous in PvP and also really fun in PvE. So Septimus, hell yeah! Okay, next one is actually also in the Bannerlords, and this guy is kind of free if you're doing Live Arena. Quintus, I have had him, and he's been collecting dust for a very long time. I'm like, okay, cool, but I didn't never use him, and I honestly, when I got him, I should have fixed him up immediately and start using him, for the simple fact that not only does he deal a lot of damage, not only does he ignore a bunch of shit, Not only doesn't he have like an, I believe, attack enemy, well, plays an extra hit if the target has no debuffs. If this attack is critical, repeats the attack once. He can, I believe, attack 3 times until bam, bam, bam. It's insane on the A1. Let's go through the kit. I'm gonna talk a little bit about why I didn't start with him in the beginning, and then kind of regretted it. And yeah, story time about Quintus. Here we go. A1. Attacks one enemy, plays an extra hit if the target has no buffs. If this attack is critical, it repeats the attack once. Do crit. Crit. A2. Attacks one enemy, removes all buffs. Then place a 60% decreased debuff on the target for 2 turns before attacking. These effects cannot be resisted or blocked. Oh my god. Damage inflicted by this skill cannot be decreased by enemy passive skills or masteries except the passive skills of bosses. Damage inflicted by this skill cannot be increased by either this champion's masteries or allied passive skills except when attacking bosses. Resets the cooldown of the crowd favorite skill if this attack kills anyone. And then we have the A3. Crowd favorite attacks all enemies, plays a 50% increased attack buff and a 30% increased crit damage buff on this champion for 3 turns before attacking. Resets the cooldown of the strip away skill if this attack kills an enemy. Then we have the passive. Each of this champion's skill deals additional pure damage. The amount of pure damage dealt is equal to 10% of the target's max HP for each buff on them. The additional pure damage dealt will ignore shield buffs. So I guess you can call it pure damage or kind of 100% ignore defense, I guess. And then a little bit of a ally attack in all in arena battles by 35%. This synergizes so good. The A1 is kind of nice. The A2 is the freaking cinder blocks just smashing into each other and dealing a bunch of damage. But how he could be used. I'm not saying if you use this ability, they're gonna die. But the way I sort of treat A2 now is like if they have a bunch of buffs and I want to go through all of it and then just hopefully either kill them or like push them down quite a bit of health. A2. The fact that it synergizes well, A2 and A3 kind of sort of synergizes well, resets the cooldown of the crowd favorite skill if this attack kills an enemy. And here we go, resets the cooldown of the strip away, which is this one, if this attack kills an enemy. So they're synergizing quite well with each other. The fact that you also have the freaking increase, plays a 50% increase attack and a 30% increase crit damage, and then do, you know, for 3 turns, and then a bunch of like A1s and stuff like that. He's synergized really good. He has a really nice AoE. If you want to go through someone that has a bunch of buffs, for maybe a stone skin, just send the A2, control alt delete his buffs, and hopefully the guy as well. Quintus, he should have been my main. Like, I'll put it this way. If you're starting off live arena, for example, and this is not only live arena, okay? Quintus is really good in PV as well. Same thing with Septimus. But if you're starting off with the live arena and you have this guy, so if you've done a little bit of a live arena, really consider this guy to be one of your main damage dealers early game. It all depends on, you know, who you pull. If you're super lucky and pull a bunch of really good champions, then, well, hello, congratulations. But this guy will, like, in the beginning, as soon as you get him, I would be surprised if he's not part of your main damage dealer team, or at least a really high contender, at least. But yeah, that's basically Quintus. Then I feel like people are gonna this one you're gonna think I'm stupid. Okay, I actually okay. So she came out not too long ago. It was this year. I was like, I'm gonna go for her, but man, I don't know. For those people who remember those videos I made on her, I wasn't really that fussed about her. We'll go through the kit and we'll take it from there. A1, Strike on my mark, attacks one enemy, place a fervor buff for 2 turns on a random ally except this champion. If the random selected ally is already under a fervor buff, places it on another randomly selected ally. Passive effect. Allies under a fervor buff have a 50% chance of joining the attacks of other allies under a fervor buff. This champion will not join in on any attack. If there are multiple champions with this team, with this skill, only one will activate, yada yada yada. Then we have the A2. Nexus of Silk. Place a 25% strengthen buff and a 50% increased resilience buff on all allies for 2 turns. Also equalizes the HP levels of all allies, and then the HP level of all allies will be brought up to the level of the ally with the highest HP. Then we have the A3. Revives an ally with 50% HP and 50% turn meter. Then places a perfect veil buff on all allies except this champion for 2 turns. Also places an unkillable buff on this champion for 2 turns. These buffs will be placed even if no allies were revived. Then we have the passive. For every 8 buffs the enemy team receives, increase the turn meter of all allies by 20%. For every 16 buffs this champion and their allies receive, heals all allies for 20% of their max HP. And then we have a speed in arena battles by 28%. Now, let's go through the A1. My initial thought was like, okay, well, the A1, first of all, if you're doing a live arena, she's an arena sort of champion. The fact that I'm gonna do A1s, put fervor on someone, okay, so that's 1 turn, and then attacking again with an A1, which might be turn 4 or 3 or 4 for her. Okay, then I have a chance to maybe 50% chance ally attack with this champion. The A1 didn't strike me as something like, oh my god, not at all. I'm like, okay, but this, you know, live arena, the idea is kill the enemy as quickly as possible. I mean, sometimes you're not even taking a turn. Sometimes you're taking maybe 3 turns, but rarely you go to 15 minutes and going like, oh, okay, well then the A1 kind of... The further you go with her and the A1, the higher the chance of ally attacks and stuff like that. But yeah, it's for 2 turns, so if it wears off, I was like, I don't know about this. The A2, I thought this was like, okay, well, this is really nice. This ability is really nice, but so where the wow effect was, I guess, is that we're here, where you sort of equalizes HP. So if you have her on super low HP, but you have a champion. Again, if you have a champion with full HP, you equalize it, you copy paste the health from the champion with full health and you just apply it to the rest of the team. But if that's not the case, the heal is gonna be kind of shit. You place a strength and an increased resilience buff, but the idea here is just to sort of get as much HP back as possible. Then we have the A3. Revives 1 ally with 50% HP and turn meter. Yeah, okay, perfect veil, unkillable. It's stronger than you think, specifically if they don't have AoE. If they don't have AoE and they're forced to sort of attack her with unkillable, it's kind of nice. It's going to buy you a lot of time. The passive, yeah, it probably does a lot, honestly, especially if you, well, again, longer fights. Think of it as like Odin whenever that block damage triggers. It's kind of like that, but instead, you increase turn meters and get heals every 16 or 8. And then 20% speed. That's always kind of nice. I underestimated her because I thought, I mean, kind of like, yeah, okay, A2, nice. But if this was an AoE revive, that would be the wow effect, right? And then this, well, come on. But, thing is, there are certain other things that applies fervor. You have, for example, Battered Hilt. You have also Palas. So Mavara with Palas puts fervor on everyone, 100% guaranteed. Now all of a sudden, you have a pretty high chance, or 50-50 chance on all the rest of your team to ally attack. Really nice. So that bumps up, that synergizes well with the A1. Then A2. If you have Mercurial and your team is like going like down, but you have one champion with like, oh well, I have 3 stacks of Mercurial or Toll Guard, and I'm still full health, well, then just copy paste the health. There you go. Or you have, again, someone like Palas, again, synergizes A1, heals everyone up by about 10% of the HP of missing or something like that. So, yeah, that's kind of nice. The revive, the unkillable, the perfect veil really helps. I think AoE rest would be kind of too strong, but yeah, she is one of the strongest champions as far as PvP goes right now. She's really good. So yeah, I was really. Sometimes you just gotta like, oh, man. I don't. Okay, actually, he's not here. But I'm gonna do it like a bonus champion as well. I don't have this champion though. I'm so freaking pissed I don't have him. Anywho, that's Mavara. Okay, then same thing here. High elves. Varko's head splitter. Okay, this is a typical example of great kit reads really good. Okay, just fucking use the right gear. Basically, I read his kit. We're gonna go through it. That's the other ones. But I put this guy in the wrong gear and I thought he sucked. And then I put him in the right gear and then he fucking is really good. Let's go through the kit. A1. Hulking Killer. Attacks one enemy 2 times, will ignore unkillable buffs. When a counterattacking, will attack 3 times instead. Oh my god. I mean, A1 straight off the bat. It'll ignore unkillable buffs. Specifically, I mean PvE as well, but PvP. You know, those pesky freaking unkillables. He goes through that shit. Not just that, he also goes through unkillable with another ability. A2 attacks one enemy 2 times, will ignore block damage and shield buffs. Whenever this champion teams up with an ally to attack an enemy, they will use this skill. When joining an ally's attack, will attack 3 times instead. Then we have the A3. Places 60% increased defense buff and a counterattack buff and a 15% shatter buff on this champion for 3 turns, then grants an extra turn. Then we have the passive, has a 15% chance to join an attack whenever an ally attacks an enemy. The chance increases to 25% when an ally from the Dark Elves faction attacks. Enemies killed by this champion, whenever they counterattack or join an ally attack, cannot be revived. So you have block revive, you have ignore block damage, you have ignore unkillable, you have counterattack, and a big version of shatter. Reads really freaking good. This guy, oh my god, he reads like he can freaking clap. My mistake was because I heard he was squishy. Okay, you can run him in 9-piece Mercurial, but you need ignore defense for that. You need relics, gemstones, anything that gives you ignore defense. He is desperate for. If you don't have that and you run him 9-piece Mercurial like I did, he's not gonna do the damage that he's built to do. First of all, he's a single target damage dealer, alright? So, okay, he's a single target damage dealer, well then freaking hope that he deals a lot of damage, right? Because otherwise, he's horrible. He only does that with, for example, what we run him with is a 5-piece stone skin and 4-piece savage and, well, savage or lethal for the ignore defense. You want that stone skin because again he is squishy, but you also want the ignore defense, so it's a nice balance between those. Running full merciless, I mean him not dying, I don't see it, man. It would be very fun when he attacks, but that's a big if, you know. But yeah, Varko's typical champion where like, oh my god, great champion, just need the right gear for him. Also, one thing here that I just read, whenever this champion teams up with an ally attack to an enemy, they will use this skill when joining it. Okay, so this is a 100% chance to do so. I didn't know that. I thought it brought from the passive. Even I learned something new here. Cool. So basically, I right now run him with Mavara and Osgren for the ally attack, and then also Mavara, because Mavara keeps him alive to some degree, right after that 1 stack of stone skin. Then we have a freaking champion that you're probably not gonna predict, and this is actually not so much PvP. It's actually quite the opposite. Let me just try to find him. This might get awkward. Oh my god. Hold on, hold on. Let me use my brain here. Let me use the brain. No, no, no. You're gonna stay for the awkward pause. It's okay. It's not as awkward as you think. The Skinwalkers? Where the frick is he? Where the frick is that guy? No, he's not Orcs. Nah, man. Think of it like this. It gives you time to think of like who it is. It's an epic. Oh, right. Right, here he is. Toragi the Frog. The guy I rely on to freaking kill bosses all by himself. Kind of. You need someone to clear waves. This guy, combined with other champions, I wasn't really high on this guy when it comes to like him with other champions. We're gonna go through his kit and I'm gonna tell you why I love him and why he solos, well, Scarab Lord for me. Okay, here we go. Swamp Club attacks one enemy, has a 30% chance of placing a 50% decrease attack debuff for 2 turns, damage based on HP. Then we have the A2, attacks all enemies, has a 50% chance of placing a provoke debuff for 1 turn, then increases, this chance increases by 5% for each debuff on the enemy team. Then we have the Bog Blessing, plays a shield buff equal to 15% of this champion's max HP, and a 50% ally protection buff on all allies except this champion for 2 turns. Also heals this champion by 25% of their max HP and plays a 30% reflect damage buff on them for 3 turns. The heal increases by 2.5% for each poison debuff on the enemy team. Passive, when attacked, has a 50% chance of placing a 5% poison debuff on the attacker for 2 turns, occurs once per hit. And then we have some resilience on the guy. So, let's put it this way. Build him not in regeneration and mortal gear, he's kinda to me, to be honest. This guy, and the reason why people talk about him so much, is the fact that if you do run him with regeneration and immortal gear, this guy literally solo bosses. He solos Scarab King for me. He solos, I don't think he's so, so Scarab King is the champion that he's really good against. And the reason why is the passive, and also the reflect damage. That helps that it decreases attack as well. The provoke thing is kind of meh. But it's these 3 things that are really nice synergy. So if you don't have this, you should really invest in this. I'm gonna show you my Toragi the Frog, and usually I actually toss around this gear a little bit here and there. This gear should actually be a little bit more updated. But we have 4 set, heals by 15% every turn, and then we have Immortal set, HP by plus 15%, heals by 3% every turn. So it just keeps him up over and over again. I don't think we have that. No, we don't. But what I should have with this guy is honestly freaking like one of those the golden elixir, I think it's called, which brings you back to like up to 50%, like it heals you over and over again. Yeah, you should really have that. But this gear, this right here, I toss around on different champions whenever I need to sort of solo something. This gear works really good with Mikey as well when it comes to soloing the what's it called? Well, the Scarab King once again, specifically with Brimstone is really nice. But yeah, Toragi is one of those guys, like if you have this sort of gear, he can solo a bunch of stuff. One thing to keep in mind though when you go against Scarab King, one thing is that you do not want, so he can clear the waves for you, but it's gonna take forever, right? So you want champions to sort of clear the waves for you. And once you get to that stage, if it's like Doom Tower, for example, you need to make sure they're squishy. They deal a lot of damage. They're like glass cannons, okay? They deal a lot of damage, but as soon as you go to the Scarab King, they need to die relatively quick. Because if you're doing it at auto, and you put Bog Blessing on and doing an ally protection, you're gonna basically kill this guy. He's gonna die if he puts ally protection on more champions than himself. yeah, there's that. Yeah, but that's my 5 champions that I've talked about. The champions that I thought, whatever, man. Nah, people talk about them, but I don't get it. And then I get it. And then I'm praising them. Oh, Jesus, praise Jesus, everything like that. One champion that I think a lot of people were like, I don't know. And then when you have him now, you're gonna go, oh my god, go to, holy shit. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Okay, I don't have him. I do not have him. We can't really get him. I don't think I need to like go through the kit. You're gonna be like, well, duh, of course. I am just waiting for the day this guy becomes available. This guy was, you could have pulled him from like ancient shards and stuff like that if you were lucky, or when the event was happening, or you could have buy him for $20 or euro. If you have him plus up as well, I guess no, he's synergized with someone else, right? When you increase his level, I guess, like +1, +2, +3. It's not a predator, it's someone else. I'll go through the kit, but I don't feel like I have to. I feel like look at this, look at like now when I show you guys this, everyone knows what the hell is up. Okay, there's a video, a live arena video, where the thumbnail is this guy dodging around a lot. If you want to check out what the frick he can do, just check that video out. Alright. A kit. Attacks one enemy, heals this champion by 30% of the damage dealt. As an effect, whenever this champion successfully evades an enemy skill, and all of its accompanying effects, a counterattack with this skill occurs once per turn. Then we have the A2. Oh my god, a lot of text. Hold on, let me drink a little bit of water. Attacks all enemies 2 times. After hitting the initially selected enemy, all other enemies will be hit in a random order. For the first hit, the damage received by the initial selected enemy will be increased by 75%. Each subsequent enemy hit following the initial hit will receive 15% less bonus damage, reduced to 15% bonus damage. Also destroy each enemy's max HP by 30% of the damage dealt, stacks up to 50%. For the second hit, the damage received by the initial selected enemy will be increased by 15%. Each subsequent enemy hit following the initial hit will receive 15% more damage, stacks up to 75% damage. This attack ignores 15% of the target's defense if this champion is under a Veil or Perfect Veil buff. Yeah, this is a Control-Alt-Delete button. Right here. Right there. Okay. A3. Attacks one enemy before attacking, place a Hunter's Gaze debuff for 1 turn. This debuff cannot be resisted if this champion is under a Veil or Perfect Veil. If this attack kills an enemy, place a Block Revive debuff on the target and a Hunter's Gaze debuff on a random alive enemy for 1 turn. The Hunter's Gaze debuff cannot be resisted if this champion is under Veil or Perfect Veil. If this attack does not kill an enemy, place a Perfect Veil buff on this champion for 2 turns, fills the turn meter by 50%. Then we have this son of a bitch passive. At the start of each round, place a Perfect Veil buff on this champion for 1 turn. Before this champion takes a turn, also has an initial 50% chance to evade an enemy skill and all of its accompanying effects. This initial chance reduces to 0 after this champion's first turn in a round. Whenever this champion kills an enemy, grants this champion a 20% chance to evade enemy skills and accompanying effects. Stacks up to 60%. Basically, he dodges a frick ton, so he's really hard to kill. Other than that, he places a Block Revive, okay, which deals a frick ton of single target damage, okay. And not only that, Smart Disc, I feel like it's a 50-50 of you, literally everyone's dead. I don't know how many times we've gone up against a Predator and he does this and then the game is over within 5 seconds. This champion, 4,200, holy crap. Yeah, this champion is one of the meta champions right now in Live Arena and is super freaking annoying. A lot of people also put him with a, what's it called, the lens from Grim Forest, the mythical relic, which is just even more ignore defense. And it's just... fuck this guy, man. I really want him. You can't get him, so it's even worse. But I'm just hoping for the day that comes, sort of like, you know, oh, look at this, like they did with the He-Man. Please do that with Predator, like, ASAP. Everyone is gonna buy him, and everyone who didn't buy him or didn't get him is so regretting it. I promise you. And then LHP in our arena balance by 35%. Guys, that has been the champions that well, except Predator. The champions I ignored in the beginning. Or sort of like, you know, at first glance, I'm like, And then we tried them out. I'm like, oh, freaking hell, holy crap. Whether it's the first glance being like, I don't know, like with Mavora, or champions like Varkos, where we just built him wrong. The same thing with Taragi the Frog. And when you build him right, holy crap, he's really good. Alright, guys, I usually post live arena videos. If you like these sort of videos, let me really know in the comments below what you thought about this. If you have any other suggestions of videos, or just other champions that you might have ignored and then gone like, oh my god, holy crap, it's really good, then let me know in the comments below. Other than that, I'll see you guys next time.